They're getting their different colors now. Hey everyone! I wanted to make another video for starting a garden because I posted one the other day about how to direct sow some frost hardy crops into a garden bed, and I got a lot of feedback from people about how to start seeds indoors for crops that are not frost hardy. So crops that are not frost hardy would be things like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, any kind of flowers, ground cherries, beans, peas. Those are things that you would want to hold off on planting until you are in the clear with the frost. So for us, it's about May 15th, which seems pretty crazy because this season has been unseasonably warm. So for us, I'm probably going to put my plants out a little bit earlier this year. Than that. I did last year. I put them out earlier and I was fine, and this year it's been even warmer, so I can't imagine that there would be a problem. However, you have to be prepared that if you do have a random frost, you're going to want to go out there and be able to put some sort of protected like a fabric or something over the crops to make sure that they stay warm if you do get a flash frost. So anyway, the plants that you would want to protect and start indoors would be things like tomatoes and cucumbers, and peppers, which are super common plants that people grow in their vegetable gardens. You don't have to go crazy with this. My goal for this video is to show you how you can start seeds with stuff that you already have, and just a few little things. So one of the things that you're going to definitely want to get is a bag of potting soil, any kind of potting mix that you can get. And potting soil is a little bit airier than your regular soil, and it has the mineral contents that the seeds need to start. Now you could start this with regular dirt. Like for example, the seeds that I direct sowed into the garden bed, that's all regular dirt. But as I explained in the previous video, root vegetables like more nitrogen deficient soil, which potting mix has added nitrogen in it. So for tomatoes and cucumbers though, potting soil is going to be great. So you can use potting soil, and if you don't have a seed starting tray like one of these, you can just use red Solo cups, or not even just red Solo cups, any color Solo cups, any color plastic cups. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm a big environmentalist. So a few years ago, we went as sustainable and plastic free as possible. So we had these Solo cups in our pantry from like years prior to for hosting parties. So last year I went and I grabbed a bunch of them and poked holes in the bottom, and all I did, there's just like 3 holes. Some of them I actually didn't, so I'm gonna have to do, I washed them and reusing them this year. I'm gonna have to poke holes in them, but I just used a little like mini screwdriver, and I keep them in a stack like this, and I just like puncture and kind of twist, and so you get a little bit of aeration on the bottom. That's gonna allow you to bottom water, which is really important for seedlings. And so that also, if they get too moist, that the water can seep out, which is also really important. So you could just use red Solo cups, and you're just gonna fill them with some potting soil. And that would actually save you a little bit a step, because then you wouldn't have to repot all of the seedlings when they get a little bit bigger. But if you do have a tray like this one's like half used, so the dirt, you would put the dirt in there. And now these a lot of times come in kits. They could be found at Home Depot and Tractor Supply, which those stores are still open. If you practice your proper social distancing, you can wear gloves, you can wear a mask into the store, whatever you need. You know, if you have the ability to go out, or you can order these on Amazon. And you can order the kit, and it comes with little discs of soil that you just add water, and it fills up the cell. Another option are these biodegradable containers, which I used for some cucumber seeds. Let me show you. And I reused a salad container, and I filled the like little cardboard, almost like egg crate cartons. I filled them with regular potting soil, and then I bottom water down in the bottom of the spinach container. And this is perfect because cucumbers don't like to have their roots disturbed, so they don't necessarily like being repotted. But what I'm gonna do is this material I can just cut, and I'm actually just gonna break the little cell off and repot them into my red solo cup. And that's gonna allow them to grow more. By the time that they're big enough where I would have to worry about the roots getting to the bottom and it becoming root bound, by that point it should be warm enough out for me to take them outside. So what you would do, I'm going to come back to these cucumbers, but what you would do is you read the back of your seed packet, and of course obviously you would want to get some seeds online. Again, you can order these from Amazon. You can order them from my favorite company here. They're Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, but you can get them from anywhere. Burpee has a bunch of different kinds. I actually found really cool a stash of old seeds. Now, seeds you can keep if you store them properly. I found a bunch of Burpee seeds. My husband found a bunch of packets of mostly all organic Burpee seeds all across the street from the people that previously had our house. They were just left in the workshop. So, I mean, I've got corn, all sorts of different kinds of stuff. So these packets are great too. So any seed packets you can find them on Walmart.com, Target.com. If you don't feel like leaving the house, you can find them online. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the back of your seed packet. So the backs of the seed packets are all a little bit different. Some have like a map. These ones have, the Burpee ones have like a QR code that can tell you all about them. But they always will have, information about the ideal germination for the plant. For what I'm worried about, it does tell you the ideal temperature. Most of these things you're going to want to keep indoors, to sow them. But the important thing is the depth of the seed. The rule of thumb is that you would want to plant the seed about twice the length of down as the seed is tall. So for example, I'm going to use the bean seed because it's easy to show. Some seeds are super small, like lettuce seeds, carrot seeds, they're really tiny. Kale seeds are like little pellets, so super small. So that's like I talked about, I kind of just put them on the surface and sprinkle dirt on. But a bean seed's pretty big. It's a dried bean. So you would want to go about twice the length of this seed down. So you'd bury it about that far down in the dirt, and you want to plant it up ways like that. Now, tomato seeds and pepper seeds, again, those are super tiny. But those ones, where'd my bag of seeds go? This room is a mess, my sunroom. So I am lucky enough that we have this sunroom. We were actually going to take it down because it's quite an eyesore on the front of our house. But honestly, it's super functional in terms of seeds and keeping plants in the winter. So we kept it, and it's not without its flaws, and it's a total mess right now because it's seed season. But it's pretty awesome to have it to be able to grow seeds. So tomato seeds are 1/8 of an inch. That's the depth. So again, that is, you barely, you want to just like touch, I use a chopstick. You just want to touch the surface of the soil and put the seed in, and then put a little tiny bit of dirt on. All right. So what you would do is, let's say you've got your seed kit here. You would take however far you want to go down. I actually have this marked, which you can't see because it's a dark wood, but I marked 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1 inch. And you just kind of push down that far, put your seed in. I actually just used the toothpick to pick the seed up because it's wet. Put the seed down, and then you just cover it over, and you're good. These trays are set up so that there's a tray underneath, and that's where you put the water. So then you would just, before you put the dirt in or whatever, you'd fill it up with water. And then you put your seeds in, and most of the time they come with a little cover that goes over the top. If you want to use materials you already have in your house, I'm going to tell you a great thing to use is a blueberry or blackberry container, because it has the little holes. You would just need to put it in a tray, which you could use the lid of a salad container. I'm big into like reusing plastic, so reuse the lid of a salad container, put this in there, put the dirt in, put the seeds in, and it's like a little mini greenhouse. Now these seeds are going to have to transplant sooner rather than later because they're going to there's not a lot of soil there. But it's perfect for starting little seeds, little sprouts. Now, wherever you are starting them, if you're using a light, if you're using a heat mats are great. Personally, we use our sunroom because it gets a lot of sun, and then we use a plug-in space heater that's like a fan, and it's a rotating space heater fan, and that has been perfect. The start of the season, I was keeping it at like 65 degrees because I didn't want to go through as much, our electric bill and everything, and conserve as much as possible. However, I was coming up with major issues with mold, and I lost an entire first batch of seeds because mold loves the 60s temperature. You really want it to be at least 70 degrees in the area where you are. If possible, 75 degrees for most of the seeds is like perfect. So be warned that mold will grow on top and not allow your seeds to grow if it is like in the 60s in the room that you're keeping it in. So if you're keeping it in your house and you keep your house at like 68, you're going to want some sort of heat source for those seeds. Another trick that you can do is you can use cinnamon. So cinnamon is like a natural antimicrobial, but also when you sprinkle it on the top of the seedlings, like on the top of the dirt, it doesn't allow the mold to form as easily. So here's a pepper seedling that I transplanted. And what you do is you just kind of sprinkle, plus it makes the room smell really nice. You just kind of sprinkle a little layer, and I just kind of like get it off of the plant. It doesn't hurt the plant, and it's going to help so that you don't get as much mold growth. So that's been a big trick that has been very helpful for us. So you're going to want to put your seeds in, get a cover on them. If you need to, you can sprinkle some cinnamon, and then you're going to wait for them to start to come up. Oh, hi, Lou. I don't know if you can see her, but she's trying to look in. Hi, Lou. So anyway, once you've done that, you want to make sure that you keep the soil moist, because you don't want the seedlings to dry out. So, for example, when you have the seed kits, they come with this lid, which you can see the condensation. I just had it over here. They're made to keep the moisture in. If you're using like reclaimed materials like salad containers and blueberry containers, you just want to keep a close eye that the moisture content is there. So this is a tray I started. Now you can see that some of the seedlings have come up already and some have not. I'm having some mixed success with this, with the seeds that I purchased this year, but the ones that have come up, I've got some eggplants, and I'm going to just keep these. I think that they were in an area too far away from the fan, so I moved them closer to the heat, and they started coming up like a lot faster. So I think I'm just going to keep trying that and see what happens. But I'm going to leave these in here until they are big enough for me to transplant. These guys are totally ready to be transplanted. So these first two leaves that come up are the cotyledons, and then you get the first true leaf. So the first two leaves that come up are actually in the seed, like they're generated from the materials in the seed, and they're the first ones to come up to photosynthesize. So the next set of leaves is the ones that are the true leaves for that plant. So once you start getting true leaves, that's when it's time to transplant. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to find one of my cups that says cucumber on it, and I fill it with soil, and I always just mark on there what it is. Fill it up. For these containers, I'm going to cut them and just stick this whole cardboard thing right in to my cup of soil. But a lot of times, if they're seedlings in soil, I'll actually use like tomato plants or pepper plants. Tomatoes are pretty forgiving, and you can kind of manhandle the roots a little bit, I will actually use my chopstick. Hi, Lou. And I will just like pry up from the bottom so not to disturb the seed as much. So look, you can see the seed where the roots were actually coming out from the bottom. And you're just gonna put this right into the soil. So then you just kind of making a hole and putting this cucumber plant in. And then I'm gonna cover carefully around the bottom with some more potting soil. And then you want to press down just gently around the plant itself so you get as many of the like air pockets out, because the roots want contact with soil. Now you want to make sure that this has enough moisture. There are holes in the bottom, so you want to do this over something, and you want to keep that area moist. All right. So now that you have the seedling, what I do is you could either put it back into the salad container once this is empty. For example, let me show you, like this, because then I can bottom water. If you don't have salad containers to use, you can make a big mess like me. I wish one day I'm going to have a shelving unit in here, but we don't right now. So I use the tops of Tupperware containers and I just line them up. And that way I can bottom water by putting water on the bottom of the container, or I'm sorry, on the like lid. And then it allows me to bottom water. And the really cool thing is you want to start doing something when it gets warm out. You want to start doing something called hardening off, which is where when the weather gets warm for like a certain, I could have done it even today, for a certain part, you know, for a few hours, you should actually take them outside for a few hours, because that way they're going to get more adapted to like lower temperatures a little bit faster than if you just leave them inside. If you were to just take these plants from in this nice warm sunroom and just instantly put them, sorry, I'm letting my dogs in. Hi, pups. And just instantly let them in, or put them outside in the elements, they could shock and die very quickly. So within a day, you could lose all your plants. So what the best thing to do is to take them out for a few hours at a time, take them back in, take them out the next day for a few hours, take them back in. All right, once they get well established. That's once it's warm enough and you put them right in the sun. But in the meantime, what you should be doing, once you get the crops to be a little bit tall, like this guy even, okay, he's just over, Lulu, can you please stop? Just over the edge of that, you want to put them where there's airflow. So if that's the heat fan, like we have our tower there, or if you have a tower fan, or if you have windows, you want to allow some airflow, because that's going to make the stems of the plant a lot sturdier so that they don't get leggy. All right, so if the plants get leggy, that's going to make them a lot weaker. So that is basically starting your seeds from not a lot of materials 101. Let me know specifically what plants you want to start indoors this year. Now is the time to start. So get your Amazon list together. Whatever you want to do, get out to the store if you're able to, if you're, you know, not in an area that's been shut down, social distancing. But get your list together. Comment below with what you're going to start growing indoors this year. Even if it's just one kind of plant, start small and work your way up. And as always, if you haven't liked or commented or subscribed to the channel, just do that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You'll see anytime I post videos about this or the chickens or anything else going on. I will see you guys soon.